Hajia Zuweira Mohammed Ibrahimah is Member of Parliament for Salaga South. Good morning.
Good morning, Senator. How are you?
I am well.
Good to see you again.
Yes, yes. You said you've been to Radio Gold before?
Yes, but not in the last 15 years.
15 years.
Yeah.
Please come closer to the mic for me.
So I actually missed my way this morning.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've stayed in touch.
Okay.
I've followed the developments of Radio Gold, but coming here physically, I think it's more than 15 years. I haven't set foot here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When was the last time you were here?
Let me see. It's more than that. This must be around 2008, 2009, thereabout. Yeah.
That's been quite a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while. It's been a while. So I'm happy to be back here today. And I hope that I won't go missing for another 10 years.
We intend to see you more. We intend to see you more. So Hajia is a first-term member of Parliament. This is her first term in Parliament.
That's right.
But it seems from saying you've been here since when you came in 2008, were you actively in politics?
Well, tricky question. Actively not in the front line.
Okay.
Yeah, at that time, because we were then professionals in corporate. And so we couldn't mix that with politics. So we had to do politics underground. Yeah. that is when I came here. I remember. Yeah. Okay.
Because the story is told famously of some of my colleagues who were in London and met you.
Oh, exactly. That's why I said I've stayed in touch. I've followed Radio Gold, but coming here, I remember I was just asking about Virus.
Yes.
I remember Virus and I on the train from Hyde Park Corner to Golders Green.
Okay.
And then the announcement came and said, "Mind the gap, mind the." And he turned and said, "So how would we say this in Tree if this was Accra?" He said, "Mind the gap. How do you say that in Tree?"
Nice to have you in studio. And how's Parliament treating you?
Oh, Parliament, not bad. Could have been better because we went in with a lot of expectations, and then sometimes if you're not careful, you just have the sense of not really fulfilling.
Okay.
Yeah, but you need to also understand and try to appreciate the intricacies of the game. Okay. And then try and find your footing somehow. Okay. My experience, personal experience, it takes, I think, 2 years to navigate that territory.
2 years?
Yeah, to get to understand
how Parliament works.
It works because our colleagues, our seniors, and even some who are also first-timers like us, but who have some experiences to share, have actually led us, mentored us, and showed us the way. Okay. And so I think to that extent, but if you've done a PhD before, Parliament is like doing a PhD thesis. 90% of the time you're on your own. Oh. You need to figure out stuff and there is no course mate, there is no classmate, subject mate, no. Because every constituency, the 275 constituencies are different. Okay. Yeah, there are no two constituencies that are the same or similar. So the experiences vary and differ. So you have to now pick and choose which experience suits your constituency. What can you borrow from here? What can you copy from here? who can you carry to your constituency to assist you in an activity? Okay. So that is the learning curve. Okay. In terms of parliamentary work itself, which is split mainly into two, at the committee level and the plenary. This is a chamber where you see us debating, arguing issues, and that also presents another learning curve. Okay. And of course, that has to do with understanding the subject matter of a debate. If a particular motion is on the floor, what is it really talking about? Do you have the skill? Do you have the knowledge? Do you have the background to appreciate? Sometimes not necessarily to even make a contribution, but just to appreciate and understand the dynamics of what is going on. That also needs some guidance. Okay. And I think most of our seniors have done well. Of course, we have our standing orders and the constitution, which are in Islam, we say the Quran and the Hadith. You know, in Islam, the Quran is the word of God, okay, and that is the constitution. And then the Hadith is the workings and the cultures and the teachings of the Prophet. Okay. So that is the standing orders that guides the work of Parliament and even every MP. So every MP, I mean, when we came first, especially in the heady days of e-levy and whether we are good, every MP was carrying their standing orders around, because at every time you will have to maybe make reference to the relevant section of either the standing orders or the Constitution in order to make some persuasive or make an argument from an informed position. So this is Parliament. And from my experience, it takes 2 years. Okay. To turn the curve. Yeah. And then you can begin to look back and say, okay, probably this could have been done this way, even then. Probably, so next time you are hoping to correct your mistakes, to streamline your thoughts and activities and your whole conduct to fit into the system. Yeah.
That's on a personal level.
That is on a personal
level. You then have to deal with the expectations from the constituency.
That's right. That's right. We succeeded somehow, all of us. I don't do blame gaming, making scapegoats of people complaining, and no, I think all of us have a responsibility towards where we want to go to. So I think, again on a personal level, that all of us collectively conspired and decided to make the work of the MP very difficult. Okay. Because now at the constituency level, the MP is the alpha and the omega.
At the constituency level?
At the constituency level, once an MP, an individual, is voted to be MP, you are the president, you are the district or municipal chief executive, you are the medical doctor, you are the police IGP, you are everything. This is how we've all conspired to turn the MP's role into. That's what the MP has become. But I, again, on a personal level, have said in the last I'm getting to my third year, almost ending my third year, I've said that having been an MP for almost 3 years, I'm beginning to think that roles like what I'm currently engaged in are a calling. Okay. Like the Christians will say that it's a calling to be a pastor, because it's a role that takes, you have to be committed to it. Okay. You have to have the ability to understand where the people are coming from. You have to have the willingness to sacrifice and to work to meet the aspirations of the people. If you don't have these innate characteristics, you will get very frustrated on the way. Yeah, along the way, you will get very frustrated. So I think that it's a calling. Okay. Yes, it is. I've heard around parliament, people who have even one term like me already trying to give up. People 2 terms and they said no, it's enough. 3 terms, but you find that there've been people there 7 terms, 5 terms. So, and these people are not complaining. They are happy doing what they are doing. So if you don't come in with that special commitment to the role, it becomes very difficult.
Okay.
There is also this huge misconception that Parliament is a place where people go to make it in life, sort of. When you get there, you find that if that is your the mind that you came, you get there and realize that that's not the case.
Okay. You can't make it in
No,
Parliament.
you cannot. There is nothing to make there except knowledge. You gain a lot of knowledge. And when I talk about knowledge, someone said, live with people, deal with people, and the knowledge you acquire, you never find in a book.
Okay.
So there is a lot of knowledge and a lot of opportunities for one to really open their minds and even gain external knowledge, even within the book. But you are not going there to go and make money, wealth. No, it doesn't exist. And if you are committed to it, as I indicated earlier on, you cannot, because there is never enough to answer to the demands of your constituency. Never. There is never enough. You barely scrape through and manage every day to sort of sort out people's daily requests and demands on you. So I think, again on a personal level, that it's not for nothing that people make a profession out of being MPs. Okay. It's a venture that one can easily convert into a profession. Okay. But for one to be able to do that, one must be willing to serve the people and serve the country. So the increased reduction in numbers of MPs who return to Parliament, apart from those who make a conscious decision that I'm ending this term, I'm not seeking re-election, I'm not coming back, that you can't fault. People will take these decisions for different reasons. But for those who, for example, go in and lose elections, and some of them very acrimonious elections, it depletes Parliament of a certain quality, a certain level of human resource. Okay. Because if people come into Parliament and want to be MPs, you are told that the work of the MP is to make laws. Okay. For me, that was one of the biggest confusion I had to navigate when I got to Parliament. Okay. I got there and I was told that I was now supposed to be working for government. And I was like, no, I came here on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress. The National Democratic Congress is not in government. Yeah. How can I be working for government? So once you come here, government pays your salary, government provides for your upkeep, government makes sure that you can do your work as an MP, and you are here to make laws, you are here to provide oversight on government governance. And so it takes a while for that to sink in and for you to begin to take that posturing of, oh, okay, so this is what it's about. Now, for some of us and for someone like me, once I got that understanding, I thought that this is something that I want to do. Okay. Be an MP. So that is what walking the path of professionalism. So then you need to spend time, study the Constitution, study the standing orders, be in the chamber. You cannot be without that. The chamber, the plenary, is very critical for anyone seeking to be a long-term member of parliament, because that is where you learn all the what do you call it, activities of how debates are done, of how parliamentary activity is moved, what the speaker's role, leadership role, backbenchers. You have to understand parliamentary work. And then there is committee. We have the standing committees and we have the select committees. And so for every first-time MP, you serve in one standing committee and one select committee.
Okay.
Again, you are supposed to bring your experience, you are supposed to bring your intellect, your insight to bear on the work of the committee in order to support a specific sector in government. So I am of the view that in order that we can get Parliament to work and operate as Parliament, we must allow parliamentarians to be parliamentarians.
Okay. What would that mean?
We have to allow MPs to be MPs by remaining MPs and working as MPs. You know, I think it's Article 71, that enjoins the president to appoint the majority of his ministers from Parliament. It's actually one of the issues that puts so much pressure on Parliament and the MPs. And this happens, in my view, I'm saying all of this from my own personal perspectives. In my view, Parliament is supposed to provide oversight. I mean, we've had the grumblings around every now and then. Parliament is accused of being in bed with the executive, and Parliament did. Even this morning, I was listening to a program about the motorway, and the Parliament is being blamed everywhere. So, how do you provide effective oversight when 80% of the ministers come from Parliament? I'm in Parliament today. Hajia Zuweira, Sena's Parliament. Sena is Minister for Trade. You and I have a long relationship. We are supposed to provide oversight. You see the dichotomy, the complications that it comes with, because they are our own colleagues. In fact, the only time you see the chamber filled to capacity is when our own colleague has issues there. So every MP comes.
Okay.
Yes, every MP, because every MP will call their friends. We are not an island. We come from a society. We come from communities. We come from families. But if Parliament MPs were isolated from the executive and allowed to be MPs, and let whoever is president find his minister. Look, there are over 30 million Ghanaians, only 275 MPs. Why must 80 ministers also come from Parliament? What's happening to the other over 32 million Ghanaians out there? So I feel that ministers of state can be appointed from outside of Parliament. And that will strengthen Parliament's hand to provide the oversight responsibility that the Constitution enjoins us to provide. The second thing I think is that when MPs, ministers are not made from Parliament, then MPs are able to work as MPs and focus as professional parliamentarians. The jostling for rules. Oh, so you have to get to Parliament so that you can catch the eye of the president and be made a minister. It will take that out. And so you will find that people who really want to be MPs, who want to come in and work as MPs are those who will go vying and contesting elections to become parliamentarians.
Okay.
That is what I think. Okay. And so with all of this, committee work, for example, MPs have to belong to committees. Some of the committees are very ministries direct and specific.
Okay.
For example, if you look at the select committee on agric, I mean, they're working directly with the Ministry of Agric.
Okay.
I am on foreign affairs.
Okay.
So working directly with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And so MPs who sit on these committees, the activities of these committees should not be, even in the remotest way, supported by the ministries that they are overseeing. Mm-hmm. It creates issues of conflict, mm-hmm. because we are overseeing the work of a ministry. Ideally, we should be independent. Mm. And so anything to do with the committee work, even if the committee has to travel to oversee work of a ministry, Parliament should be able to facilitate that, in order that the ministry does not even come into it. Because there is a common saying that he who pays the piper, that's what calls the tune. Mm. If a ministry is sponsoring a trip of MPs to the field on oversight, Commander Sugar Factory is being on the table, it's been hammered everywhere, and the Trade Ministry, for example, is sponsoring the trip there. How objective are the MPs going to be? So we need to find ways of making sure that Parliament can take care of parliamentary activities, so that MPs can focus and remain MPs and provide oversight as it should be. Mm. Yeah.
Well, if you just join us, Honorable Zuweira Mohammed Ibrahimah, I just initial thoughts on staying in Parliament. But there's one other part, because when you came into Parliament, in fact, you're a member of the Appointments Committee.
Yes, yeah.
I recall vividly, I was watching the proceedings of the Appointments Committee, got to your turn. I listened to you and I called my producer and I said, there's a woman called Hajia Zuweira something. So I had to go and find your number from parliamentary reporters, and then we got in touch with you.
That's
then
right.
You ended up on Alaji.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
How's that also proven? That also puts you in the eye of the public, because
that's right.
The early baptism of fire for this Parliament was through the
Appointments Committee. That's right. That's right.
You were new in Parliament.
Exactly.
When the fire started coming.
Yes.
What happened? How did you feel?
So we were new in Parliament. Went to Parliament. We got sworn in, you remember, and a very funny, a development with the our colleague, Honorable Jechikwe, saying not supposed to be there. We didn't understand what was happening, and then we were told that we had to vote for a speaker. And then you remember Honorable Muntaka and the ballot chasing Honorable Carlos Ahinkra and all of. But after all of that, then we went on I think a 2-week recess to reconvene. I think 15th July. I couldn't make 15th July because I took very ill, and it was by the grace of Allah that I actually came out of it.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
it
was that bad. It was bad. I was in Ridge Hospital for over 10 days in intensive care. So when I was there at Ridge, when I got a call, my phone rang, and then I picked one of my constituents and then said, "Oh, congratulations, Hajia." And I was like, "Congratulations." So yeah, it's just been announced that you are on the Appointments Committee. Hey, Parliament. So I was lying there in the sick bed. So I said, "Okay, thank you."
So it wasn't like as if you asked for it.
No. So I was there. I got another call. And the caller said, "Is this Hajia Zuweira?" I said, "Yes, please." He said, "Oh, where are you? We've been looking for you." So I said, "Please, who is speaking?" So my name is Honorable so and so. And I said, "Oh, I haven't been well. I'm in hospital." I said, "Oh, but you should have told us." She said, "Let us know." I said, "Well, I just took ill." And the next thing I was here, and I've been here for the past 10 days. And she said, No, you can't do that. Here, if you don't come here for 15 days, your seat will be declared vacant. Hey! and
that was news to you.
And this is a 2-week-old parliamentarian. And said, your seat will be declared vacant. And I said, really? He said, yeah, there's a form that you needed to fill. I said, so what do? I'm just at rage. Can I ask permission and come to Parliament and fill the form? He said, okay, let me call you back. So she called back, and then we got that form sorted out. So my seat would have been declared vacant without my knowledge that I couldn't be absent
without informing
for 15 days. So that's how I got saved. So we sorted that out, and then I went home and I came to Parliament. And then I came to Parliament, and Nanado made the appointments, and COVID was at its height, if you recall. So, all right, Honorable Speaker was forced to suspend Parliament because of COVID, but the Appointments Committee had to work. So, brought the CVs, and okay, so all right, so some of them were MPs. You could see that they are sitting MPs. Some of them too, no, and this rule. So you have to go and research on the portfolio. You have to run down the individual candidate, and then again, that is where I talked earlier on about the guidance, the mentoring. Our leaders in Parliament, our leadership, the Appointments Committee led us. They guided us on how. In fact, we had 2, 3, or 4 meetings before the first vetting. So they took us through what we were expected to do, what we needed to do. If we were not sure about anything, we always went back to our leaders, and then it was the whole terms of reference was made very clear to us. And so we went in, and do I even remember who the first nominee was that we vetted?
Escaped me too.
Yeah, let me try and see if I can recall. If I remember along the way, I would. But I was very passionate about a lot of issues. And I thought that we needed to get some reactions on some of the issues from some of the nominees. And as a person, I am very passionate about social justice, about human rights, about fair treatment. And let's just do the right thing. That is all I said. Let's do the right thing. If there are consequences, we do the right thing. We'll deal with it. But I always believe that there are no consequences. I mean, you can't do the right thing and go wrong. So let's do the right thing. So, for example, I asked, let me see, I asked Madam Cecilia Dapa, for example, about why we have, in this age, 21st century, we build gutters and they are not covered, and then people find it convenient to use them to dispose waste, and then the rains come, and every year we have this issue of flooding, and some of those pertinent issues. That was my focus. My focus was trying to get a sense of what these people are bringing on board in order that we can solve some of these social issues. I don't think, and if I'm wrong, correct me, that I was adversarial. It's not my nature. I don't do adversarial politics. I don't do antagonistic politics. I try to get to work together, because look, there is a basic and fundamental understanding of politics that all of us need to appreciate. There will always be the other side. Otherwise, then there is no democracy. If it's it's me and what I believe in and what I do, then what is the point? So once there's an opponent, clearly there are different thoughts, there are different opinions. It doesn't make us enemies. We don't have to quarrel or fight. We can talk and find middle ground. I do that type of politics. That's what I like to do. So most of my questions, if you go back and play the videos, you realize that we're more human-centered. They were more, what will we do to do this? The average Ghanaian can put food on the table. What is going on? Why are all these children hawking on the streets? I remember I asked Adjwasa for that question. So that sort of broke the ice for me.
Yes.
As first-time MP, facing the cameras, asking professionals questions and getting responses. I wouldn't say that maybe all the responses were satisfactory, you know, but sometimes it's not a yes and no answer. You appreciate the thought processes of the person, and then you can hope that, oh, okay, maybe this woman, because she said ABCD, well, when she gets there, she might be able to do ABCD and that. So that was me at appointments committee.
Well, it was not actually the questions you asked. People had no issues with the performance when it comes to grilling or asking the right questions.
Yes.
Now, ultimately, you know what the problem was? The problem was approving some of them. Your party members were not happy that ministers like those in charge of security were even approved in the first place. When those things started coming and the scrutiny. But did you have people from your constituency actually raising serious questions about?
Oh, yes. I remember after the first batch of ministers were approved at plenary, I had to actually go myself onto one of the major platforms in my constituency to try and proffer some understanding of and Senna, the truth of the matter is that whole business of nominating, vetting and approving ministers is so nuanced. You can never hold the head and walk straight to the tail.
Okay.
You know, without getting entangled with the feet or the hind legs. So, for us, if I'm sure if you ask some of my colleagues on the appointments committee, we went there, firebrand. No. Who is going to approve this? What is not going to be done? And then quickly we realized that we didn't have the power to approve or not approve. The power to approve or not approve laid with plenary.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And this is how it works at Parliament. When the committee meets and the committee makes a decision by consensus, it's laid to plenary as consensus. And so then there is no voting or further deliberation. We could debate the details of it, but there is no further deliberations on the matter. But when the committee meets by majority, then we place in the matter at plenary to make for all the 275 MPs to make a decision. So for a lot of the ministers, I mean, there was you couldn't find a reason. For example, and I know where we are coming from as a party, Techiman and South.
Yeah.
Look at the atrocities that happened. We had a Minister of Interior, we had a National Security Minister, we had a Minister of Defense. And all these ministers had been renominated. All of them. The same Interior Minister as before, the same Defense Minister as before, the same National Security Minister as before. Now, 23-member appointments committee was going to sit there and say, oh, because of what happened in Techiman South, we have disqualified you. It doesn't work like that.
But
the
Constitution
exactly
that it should work like that.
That it could work like that. You could get that outcome. It was possible to get that outcome, but it doesn't work like that at appointments committee. So if we went to appointments committee and we said NDC side, or even sometimes you get lucky, you get some from the other side. Look, we seem to have sort of drawn a certain fine line between us and them. No, there are some of them on that side who are not comfortable with a lot of things that happen. So who knows? You could even get one or two from that side and say, no, I agree with you guys. I think, no, we should take this person to plenary. It's only plenary who can reject an appointee. It's not the appointments committee. So the appointments committee will make its recommendations and send to plenary. And that's why I said there are only two sets of recommendations. One by consensus and one by majority decision. And as soon as it's by majority decision, it goes to plenary for the 275 MPs to vote on. And you know, it's a simple, it's not a decision that requires majority. So even one vote in favor can clear a person. So all of these issues were deliberated. And indeed, if you follow the vetting and you go back and watch the side of the NDC, how the questions we asked, the questions we posed, the what we sought to get out of these people, it was leading to literally hanging them and judging them guilty. Do you understand? But we didn't have the power to say, because of that, we are not, what do you call it?
You're rejecting you.
We are rejecting you. So you go to plenary. And plenary votes. And that's it. There isn't anything that anyone can do about it.
And then you take the blame.
And then we are blamed. Because but you see, someone must be blamed because you are the member of the appointments committee. Not many people understand, even for us, new MPs. It took a while, as I said. For me, it took 2 years. Honestly, for me to understand that now when I sit back, or I sit down and I know that I'm picking up this role in parliament, I'm picking up this activity, I know. So for the ordinary person sitting there, all they know is that they have NDC MPs sitting there who are supposed to reject these people and who have failed to reject them. That is not what happened. And the NDC
but did
MPs...
you reject them?
They were not rejected. I don't recall that they were rejected. I don't recall that they were rejected. Because at the end of the day, after everything is done at vetting, we do the report. And then it's the report that is debated at plenary before if there will be a vote at all. Do you understand? So I don't recall that they were rejected. I recall that there were some ministers that went to plenary for voting. And they won with overwhelming numbers. And that for me, Zena, takes me back to the issue I raised to you earlier about the independence of parliament. Those MPs, the three MPs that went to plenary, 2 of them were MPs. The 3 nominees, 2 of them were MPs. Only one was not an MP. I recall, I think the food and agriculture minister was not an MP. But you saw the results. If parliament was isolated from the executive, who knows? Maybe the outcome would have been different. But these were people who had been in parliament 4 terms, 3 terms, 2 terms. In some instances, during some of the vetting, you turn around, you see some of your people supporting. They brought a candidate. I mean, she's either their church member or something. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? The chiefs are calling. You know how our society is. Opinion leaders are calling. Oh, their son is going to be made minister. And so if they don't win, don't come back to the constituency. We'll make sure that you lose your seat. This is what plays out there. That is a reality. That is a reality. There was only one question that day I wanted to ask the defense minister.
Okay.
I didn't catch the speaker's eye, okay, the chairman of the committee's eye, because when he entered the vetting room, and I think someone asked him about the military that stormed Parliament. You remember?
Yeah.
Midnight, 6th January to 7th January. And he said, oh, he was very sad. He didn't even know how it happened. And he was very unhappy about it. And I was sitting there watching the minister. And I said to myself, but when we had to chase them out, there was only one side of the house that chased out the military. The minister was sitting in his chair. That was a question I wanted to ask the minister. I raised my hand several times. I never caught the eye of the chairman. I said, if you were so unhappy, I didn't see you in the effort to get the soldiers out of the chamber. Again, some of the questions we ask are simultaneous. Sometimes you don't plan it. A situation arises and you say, no, but this is something that somebody said this, but maybe then I need to interrogate further. Because that was the question. That was the only question I wanted to ask the minister. He was very unhappy. He said that the military stormed the chamber, but he didn't. I didn't see him unhappy, because those of us who were unhappy, if you watch the video, you see me. Yeah. We rushed to the front and chased them out. You didn't do that, and you are their superior. Now you come to vetting and tell us that you are unhappy. How do you reconcile the two? So these are some of the things that happened. It's not as if no one was happy with everything that happened, but there were some of the issues that we simply didn't have much control over. Yeah.
Well, if you just join us, Hajia Zuweira is still in the studio with us. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, I'll take her views, because we have about 24 minutes more to go. I'll take her views on a few things that are happening currently, especially the matter of limited voter registration. Like you said, no two constituencies are the same. Will this favor a lot of constituencies, the structure that the EC is introducing? We'll be right back.
My name is Diana Hamilton, VGMA Artist of the Year 2021 and Brand Ambassador of Awake Purified Drinking Water. I am super excited to partner with Ghana's first charity-driven water to give back to our communities. Awake is a brand that makes a difference. We impact the world around us. That is why for every bottle of Awake water you buy, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. Yes, every time you quench your thirst with a refreshing bottle of Awake, you're helping contribute to save lives. So keep drinking Awake Purified Drinking Water and let's continue making a difference. Awake Water, one for life, supporting the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is FDA approved.
Every morning, there are two types of people who wake up in our beautiful country. There is...
Good morning, dear.
What is good about this morning? Oh, what? This bed is too old. Why do I still feel tired after sleeping for 8 hours?
But what is wrong with this bed?
Listen, are you changing the bed or not?
It's okay. I'll change. I'll change.
And then there is...
Good morning, dear.
Good morning, my love.
How was your sleep, love?
Sleep, papa. Ade, papa.
The difference between a happy morning and a battleground morning is a good night's sleep on Ash Foam Adepa Bed. Adepa Bed is a mattress, a base, and a headboard all in one, made with superior materials to last a lifetime. Get a massive 10% discount on Adepa Bed set. Call 0243-200-729 or 0248-005-300. Adepa Bed. Adepa Papa. Only from Ash Foam. Ash Foam, feel it, know it.
Taking us 38 minutes past 9. You're still live on Radio Gold 90.5 FM. I have the Member of Parliament for Salaga South, Hajia Zuweira Mohammed Ibrahimah, in studio. Of course, a few things. First of all, currently in Parliament, there's a committee hearing ongoing on this matter of the leaked tape. A lot of people say it's the move to oust the IGP, but there are those who say that the bigger issue is the subversion. That what the man was saying, I want to be IGP, to ensure that only one party emerges as winner of the elections. And that party is definitely not your party. I'm sure you've been following proceedings so far. What do you make of what has gone on and the kind of things we're hearing?
Senna, yes. When that audio thing came out, and we all listened to it, we said, wow. I mean, mafia tactics in elections, the police have a certain rule. I mean, there are certain things that the police can do to get a certain outcome, you know. So it came to the floor, and Speaker constituted the ad hoc committee to investigate it. Okay. And we've been following what is going on. Look, a lot of the things coming out. Sometimes you wish that it wasn't being telecast live. Okay. Because the police service must remain the police service. It doesn't matter what happens after today, after December 2024, after December 2028. The police service must remain the police service. Okay. Its integrity, its aura must be maintained. In every organization, these things, a lot of these things happen. Where people are virtually fighting, lobbying, juggling for position. You know, Ghana, we have the pull him down syndrome. People will do anything to bring someone down so that they can become, you know, it's happening every day. But for it to assume this scale, where it's being suggested that a certain individual should be capable of ensuring a certain outcome of elections. I mean, you and I know that when it comes to elections, the role of the police that we know is to help preserve the peace and security of the election process from the beginning to end. The police is not the Electoral Commission of Ghana. How then does it become that the police think that they have the power to do something that will make results come out in a certain way? That is very worrying. And if it has been going on, then the fidelity of the elections that we've been having, it throws it all into question. The outcome of the elections really represent the will of the people. Or we got what we got through some machinations, through some tactics, some booga, some mafia, tactics. Is that what happened? You see, so it opens up a whole new conversation that is very worrying. Asen North, that actually, I think, triggered this particular conversation that they had that was recorded. I mean, we were in Asen North. We saw the police. And I had reason to applaud them for professionalism. They did their work as was supposed to be done. Okay. You know, we didn't see the police heckling anyone. We didn't see them like it happened in Techiman South. No. And we had a peaceful election. We had a peaceful outcome. And we are all back home. We are going to have 275 constituency elections in December 2024. What does this mean for us as Ghanaians? Are we going to have a serious conversation around this recording after the parliamentary inquiry in order that it can reshape the thinking of the police, the attitude, and even maybe we need to begin to look at this whole idea of who appoints the IGP and how the IGP is appointed. Okay. How must the IGP be either NDC or MPP? Look, I keep saying, and I say it every day, this country doesn't belong to the NDC and the MPP. This country belongs to Ghanaians. And you know why I keep saying it doesn't belong to NDC and MPP? We've seen people who were NPP yesterday, today they are NDC. Some people who were NDC today, tomorrow they are NPP. So this country doesn't belong to these two parties. It belongs to Ghana. It belongs to Ghanaians. And so we have to relook at some of these appointments. Maybe that is what lends itself to some of what we experience. Very unfortunate development that has come up this last 2 weeks. So once the appointment authority is looked at, then we can be sure that only those who are qualified and who are in position to be appointed as IGP become IGP, not because they are MPP. It shouldn't be. You know, some of us have been around for some time, and some of us went through with the referendum all the way, voted in the referendum, voted in the first election in the Fourth Republic. We've seen a lot. There were some institutions that were without any laws written anywhere, seen as sacrosanct, sort of, that ensuing governments inherited, and there wasn't much noise about, oh, but this person is MPP, this person is NDC. We saw some of those. I think this sort of behavior started gaining roots after the 2000 elections. Okay. You remember when we had this proceed on leave, everybody go home, bring new people. Then it became the norm that every new president will come, appoint their own IGP, appoint their auditor general, appoint their, you know. But some of these positions, I think up until that time, my memory serves me right, people who were in those positions comfortably inherited and continue to do their work. So we need to begin to look at seriously. Look, the some of the things that are being said, let's go to a Malam, let's go to a, it's just debasing and taking away the aura of some of these offices. If you sit on public TV and say you have to go and see Bugre Nabu, and Bugre Nabu said let's go to the Malam, and he's been using it to get people top appointments. If people are not getting into those positions by merit, they are going into these positions through other means. It takes away from the office that these people hold. And so we need to begin to look at doing things properly. And for me, the takeaway in all of this, it's a very big lesson to politicians. Okay. That when Ghanaians entrust power in your hands, you hold it in trust for Ghanaians. You don't allow a Bugre Nabu to sit at Osu opposite, yes, office at opposite Osu police station, right? And becomes a kingmaker. Ghanaians didn't vote for Bugre Nabu. They voted for a president. The president nominated people and they were appointed into positions. They are the people we expect to be running Ghana. Not some faceless people that we don't know. Who are the ones now deciding who goes where and who does what? No. All of us need to begin to look at these things very critically and say that maybe, who knows, maybe that would be the good side of this expose, that presidents, governments will make sure that the decisions that they make for the people of this country are the decisions that they made because they have the power of the people to make those decisions. We can have friends. Our friends can advise here and there. They can, but they should not be the ones determining how can IGPs be appointed and CVs are walking from police headquarters to Usu. That's not Flagstaff House. That's not, no one even knows what goes into the whole process of appointing an IGP. We don't know. No one knows, except people like Bugre Nabu. That is not fair to the people of Ghana. That is not fair to the people of this country, Senna. So I think that we need to all begin to do things properly. That's the only way we can eliminate these kinds of behaviors. During the course of the interrogation, I heard something that bothered me.
Okay.
The COP Mensa. Maybe I didn't. If I didn't hear right.
No.
But I thought I heard that he said he was supposed to have retired in 2019.
Yeah.
Now, 2019 to today, it's almost 4 years, right?
So he's currently on contract that's expiring September 16th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everything is so muddied. You don't get a clear understanding of what because the first question I asked myself, so why is this man still here? And now in this issue, why is it someone is supposed to have retired in 2019? Really? How did all this happen? So now maybe you've enlightened me. So he was on contract, and all these things have to be transparent. We need to understand. So is a contract officer able to be made IGP? Must the IGP be a serving officer? Must the IGP, can a retired police officer be nominated IGP and brought back? We are also confused about all of this. And I think that maybe that's the opportunity that this thing offers, that we can now sit down, depending on the recommendations that will be made by the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee. Maybe we can see some straightening of some of these things so that we can get Ghana going on a good kill.
Ultimately, we'll come back to you in Parliament. But there's another matter that affects directly the election process. In fact, yesterday, President Mahama did a short address, calling on young people to turn up to register. Because the limited registration exercise has become a matter of debates, where basically the Ghanaian is now having to beg the EC to make sure the process is closer to them. The EC says, I'll put it where I want it. If you like, come. If you like, don't come. Your own constituency, if you put things in context, what the EC is proposing, is it tenable?
Senna, you know what? Again, another very murky issue, as we were just discussing about the IGP audio. You know, it's not for nothing that we have a constitution. It's not for nothing. It's not for nothing that we have rules and regulations. It's so that we can all adhere to these rules and regulations to make life better. The EC, since election 2020, has not conducted any registration exercise in this country. And December will be 3 years since we had the elections in 2020. The EC is mandated to register individuals who turn 18 years at regular intervals. The EC hasn't told us why for 3 years they have failed to register young people who turned 18 years and are eligible to vote. All of us now get the impression that the only reason the EC is doing this now is because of the district level elections. Without that election, the EC would probably be waiting till next year and probably hoping that they can push through the obnoxious LI to make the Ghana card the only source document for registration. So now they are caught in the middle and they have to be seen to be doing something. So they are starting the registration on 12 September. But what do they tell us? Everybody must move wherever you are to the district capital to register. If this is not a quiet way to suppress voter registration, I don't know what else. I don't know what else it is. Look, when we started this journey of the Fourth Republic from 1992, 2023, it should be getting better and better and better. I know the number of times between 1992 and the year 2000 that I was a returning officer. As a university student, every time I came home on vacation, the EC was doing registration. I'll go and register and be a returning officer. And I always worked close to my home. I always chose the station, a polling station close to my home. This is how it's been done all these years. You would expect that by now, the EC should even improve upon that and bring
Thank you.